Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to save the video because sometimes the videos screw up. So anyway, we're gonna try to solve this error. We've got a fatal error, so which is not good to have. Where's the fatal error? I fixed this error. I just haven't recompiled yet. So the error that we're actually looking at is these errors here. 27. No wait. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna recompile to get rid of that error that I fixed. These we'll deal with after. This deals with serialization and saving to a file. This is the warning. I have no return statement in a function returning on void. I need to return something. And it's in the game. So in member function, Alice in Wonderland, adventure based game, blah, blah, blah. No return statement. So the fatal error, like a lot of stuff here. So the fatal error is, well, first of all, I've got no debug.cpp, no such file, no such file, no such file, no such file. I'll look into that. Obviously, I have the files, I think. Let's just look, debug. I have a header file for debug. Okay, maybe I don't have .cpp files for them. And let me just look. So some of these I don't have .cpp files. I made header files and they were so short I just did inline functions. So you know what? I'm going to solve that issue first. I know I'm going all over the place. But these fatal errors here, excerpt, door, direction, and debug, I don't have CPP files, which is why I'm getting those fatal errors. So let's just take those out. So I don't have excerpt. Oh, exe. I don't have excerpt or door or direction or debug. Look, all conveniently located. So that'll at least get rid of some of those fatal errors for us, hopefully, because I'm trying to compile files that don't exist. But we're still hanging up here because of this error where I'm not returning something that I'm supposed to be. Okay, so, but we get rid of those fatal errors, so that's good. Well, oh, chapter. Still there's no chapter. Ooh, you know what? Did I delete something that I wasn't supposed to? I deleted excerpt, door, debug. So chapter, there's just a header file as well. I might change that in the future and actually create implementation files as per proper guidelines. But let's do this again. I just want to clear up, make the code easier for me to handle by taking away stuff that doesn't exist. So let's get rid of this implementation file when we're trying to compile, just so we can get rid of these errors. Okay. Okay. Redefinition. So I don't know where this return type is. Return type. Alice in Wonderland text-based adventure game.cpp in member function. Alice in Wonderland text-based adventure game reference. Alice in Wonderland text-based adventure game in the assignment operator, where I take in a right-hand reference to an Alice in Wonderland text-based adventure game. Blah blah blah. In this .cpp 6.1, no return statement in function returning a void. Actually, this is going to take a while. Oh, here you go. I'm including this and not doing anything. So I've got an assignment operator. I return something, I don't do anything. To do, insert return statement here. And I've left that. So you know what? I don't think I need this. I guarantee I don't need it. So I'm just going to comment that out and get rid of that. Still hanging out. Although now I'm compiling something that doesn't do anything because this is the .cpp file, which is right there. Okay, well that seems to have just eliminated that for now, but let's look at all this stuff. Okay, what do we have? Got a lot of errors. Redefinition of std_ostream. When I'm trying to overload the insertion operator in my character class. Let's just go to my character class and try to figure that out. Can't remember if it was the CPP or the, yeah, there it is, probably right there. So probably on line 11, let's take a look. Let's do a side by side if we can. So in my character CPP file on line 11, I'm trying to do a redefinition of the std_ostream reference operator. This passing back an ostream object by reference in file included from character.cpp 9 character.h. Okay, here's the issue. In my header file, I had already overloaded the insertion operator previously defined here as a friend, so I can only include it in one spot or the other. So if I pull this up in my character.h, I've already declared the ostream, I've already overloaded the insertion operator here, and already overloaded the insertion operator here, which again, when you're overloading an operator, especially in particular the insertion operator, you will always take in an ostream object passed in by reference, not constant reference, because we're going to be changing it down here. So you just pass it in by reference, indicated by the ampersand. And then when you take in a character object or whatever class you're overwriting the object for, you would typically pass it in as a constant reference. It's funny, I only pass it in as a reference, but this should be a constant reference because you're typically not changing the thing that you're writing to a screen. So I'll even change that right now while I'm here, because that should be a constant reference, but that's not what's causing the problem. So a constant reference, and then I return back an ostream object by reference, because again you're passing back a reference to it, and the reason you do that as opposed to just copies so that you can do chaining, like when you're outputting to cout or whatever, you can chain things like var1 and then chain it var2 and then chain var3. That's why you pass back a reference. So that being said, I'm passing back reference, and you make it a friend. This is controversial in C++, or kind of like it's open for debate whether or not this is good, because it kind of defeats the purpose of abstraction and data hiding, that sort of thing, because I'm making it available to, this is a friend, so everyone can use it who outside of the class. So there's debate whether or not we should have friend like access modifier, but we do. And the mainly I'm using it for, really the only thing I think I'm using it for, is when I'm overloading the insertion operator. So anyway, the code simply takes the object output stream that got passed in, which is most likely cout or file, I guess, and then I use the insertion operator to then convert my character to a string, c.toString. My character object, I created a toString method for it, which I probably could have just, I made a toString method kind of like Java-esque. I mean, that's more of a Java thing, but I did it. And then I'm using it in the C++ thing, which is overloading the insertion operator. And then I return that. So anyway, bottom line is I've created it here and here in the implementation file, and so you don't need it in both spots. So I could just choose to do one spot or the other. I'll just comment it out in this implementation file. Doesn't really matter. And then I should get rid of these errors here. So 11 and 15. These two errors should go away. Let's see if that's in fact the case. And we got a new error. Okay. Okay, what error did I get? So now I've definitely changed up the errors, but it seems that error passing const character as this argument discards qualifiers. Okay, you know what? Maybe that's why I didn't have it as a constant character. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just extra protection. But obviously somewhere down the line that screws things up, and I don't care to look at that now because I just need to get this code working at this point. So let's just get rid of the const qualifier and see if I can get rid of those errors. Definitely never a good sign when it takes this long for your code to compile. So a lot of issues. I just noticed another thing. There's no riddle.cpp file. I guess I didn't implement. I initially anticipated on separating all of my classes into header files and implementation files, CPP files. As per proper C++ coding, where you want to separate your interface, i.e. your header files, from your implementation, your .cpp file. So, do data hiding and abstraction and all that sort of stuff. And it seems like I didn't do that a lot, because look, I got this fatal error here, cpp, riddle.cpp, no such file found. And I've got it here, item.cpp, no such file found. I thought I'd see it, and I've already got rid of a couple. So before we move on, let's just again get rid of those. Let's take them out as we can. Oh, I passed item.cpp way back here. So again, I guess I've just got the header files for a lot of things here. I'll fix that in my eventual final programming code, but that's a future problem. So I guess I started for things like character, maybe early on, where I created an implementation file or an interface file, a header file, and without coding things, just put in the declarations and then do my definitions and implementation in my implementation file. But I guess I gave up after character. Still so many errors, but we did get rid of those couple errors, so that's good. So what is this now? Let's just look and see if there's an easy error that we can fix. This just looks like too many colors for me to deal with right now. This one, binding reference of type game object to const game object. Okay, so this one, so when I scroll down a little bit, this one here at the bottom of the screen, when I have this all the way up here, let's try to deal with this one. In game object header file. So in the game object header file on line 11, let's just go there first. We have this. I'm trying to overwrite the equality operator, taking in a game object by reference and another game object by reference, comparing them both, and returning a bool. Let me see. It's a friend. what's happening? So note, conversion of argument 2 would be ill-formed. So conversion of argument 2 would be ill-formed. Error. Binding reference of type GameObjectReference, which is this, to const GameObjectReference discards qualifiers. Hey. Why? Oh, we don't have to go yet. It's not till 3 o'clock, the appointment. Yeah, you'll have to eventually, but you don't have to leave until, your mom should actually be back in time just to drive you there if you want. If not, be ready to go for 1:45, okay? In 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay. Where was I? So the equality operator, I've got some sort of binding reference issue because it's going to const. Let's take a look at this. No const there, but I guess so there's no const there. Game object. Do I have a game object.cpp? I do. And I've done this twice again. So here I just declared it. So luckily I'm using this one properly. In the header file, I don't implement this. I just declare it that I'm going to override the equality operator, and it's going to be a friend. And here I actually do the implementation where I compare the left-hand side game object that got passed in, grabbing its name, and I compare it to the right-hand side's name. So neither of them are constant, but I'm getting an error, a binding reference error. So it's going from just this to a constant game object, which discards the qualifiers. So where am I getting that? In game object list. So this is in file included from game object list, header file on line 10, game object list. So game object list on line 10. So yeah, I'm including my game object header file, and then in game object list.cpp on line 7. I'm including game object list. Okay, so I'm not sure where the constant is happening, where I'm using this. In game object list. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to find out this second. I'm going to go check. I have to take my son for an appointment in a minute, so I might have to talk about this after. So I'm not really sure what issues I've solved this video. I don't think I've solved anything. I'd like to solve one before we leave. Required from here. No match for... Let's just see if we can solve a quick one very quick. Obviously, quick one very quick. In error. No match for assignment. No match for operator equal. Operand types are game object and constant game object. Okay, so that seems to be related to our other issue. And what is that in? That's in game object list.cpp 47. Maybe. So the remove method takes in a game object, and in the implementation of it, let's just make this a little bigger for a second. In the implementation of it, I'm on this object. So this is getting called on the left-hand side. I'm going to call the erase method, and then I'm going to use std remove. So that I've included the algorithm, I guess. I've included the algorithm library. Remove is one of the algorithms associated with that. So I'm calling the remove, and I'm starting from this object from the beginning to the end. So I'm using an iterator here, and the object is the variable, or the value rather. So the object that got passed into this method, the game object. So I'm going to iterate through the entire game object, and I want to go to the end. And what do I want to do with it? I want to erase everything in the game object. So yeah, remove. So the remove method associated with game object list removes that object. I wonder if that's the issue, because I'm expecting a game object here. And I don't know if my game object is actually something that is a list. I think my game object is just a physical object. Yeah, it just has a name and a description. So I don't know why I need to iterate through to delete it. That'd be more of a game object list thing. In instantiation of function template specialization, blah, blah, remove. In template, invalid operands to binary expression. Invalid operands to binary expression. Let's see what's going on. Game object list removes a specified game object. It uses the std remove algorithm to shift all elements that are not equal to the specified object to the front of the container. And then uses the erase method to remove the remaining elements. So again, the remove algorithm shifts all the elements that are not equal to the specified object to the front of the container, and then uses erase method to remove the remaining elements, effectively removing the object. But yeah, I really don't know what's going on. I'll have to come back. My mind's elsewhere. This is what happens when you leave your code for a month and don't even look at it and just try to suddenly go to it.